Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How's it going? Welcome to the IRS Radio Hour live cast here on YouTube. Remember, if we're watching this afterwards or you stumble across it months down the road, we do our show every Sunday at 5 on AM 560, The Answer, out here in Chicago, Illinois. Remember, Attorney Stephen Leahy is there to help your IRS problems, and here he is. How are you, Steve?
Just good. How are you? How are you?
Oh my gosh. How are you guys? Anyway, we want to thank you guys so much.
William B. Williams. Sammy. I wonder if people
For
know.
all of you who don't know, watch
that.
SCTV and watch that.
Funniest show ever recorded.
It's great. It really is. It really is one of the greatest shows ever.
You know, and
because look at the lineup on that.
I know, unbelievable lineup, talent.
John Candy,
Yes.
Martin Short, Eugene Levy. Who else? Come on.
The McKenzie brothers.
Mackenzie brother. But that's
Rick Moranis.
Rick Moranis. I
Very
think
good.
he wants to come back to movies from what
I heard
I
that.
read something that he might.
Boy, he made some money though at those Honey I Shrunk the Kids movies. He made that's why he didn't need the
Well, no, his
and
wife
it's just-
died. No, his wife died.
Is that what happened?
His wife died.
I
and
figured he just made so
wanted
much
to-
money.
He wanted to be with the kids, and it was kind of like it's kind of an erosive lifestyle. So I think that was just.
And of course, he had the money; he
Let
could
me
do whatever he
fact
wanted.
check this.
So, well, we're not going to fact check because we don't have time for that because it's 3 p.m. I'm being told to wait, so we'll wait.
I will keep talking because we're
Okay.
live. Remember,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, like, share, enjoy our podcast.
Yes,
Or
please
not
subscribe.
Our podcast,
Subscribe.
or subscribe. Remember, Attorney Stephen Leahy is there for you in open tax resolution. 312-664-6649 or visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. That's going to be your help to help fight the IRS. Now, let's give everybody a little bit of a.
I've been pushing this channel. I'm trying to get. I don't.
Well, let's.
There's supposed to be secrets to getting more subscribers. I'm trying to learn those secrets. Okay, we have 152 subscribers. Anybody who's subscribed to this channel knows that because they put that right up at the
Tell
top.
a friend.
They tell a friend.
Phone a friend,
That's
guys.
right. And if you know someone that's having financial issues or IRS problems in particular, tell them about the station. Or about our
about
channel
open tax resolution
and the channel. Yeah,
and the channel.
so they can learn what's about the how to solve their IRS problem.
Exactly.
How we go about that.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of people out there just like you,
Mm-hmm.
and don't be embarrassed.
All over
by
America.
it. Don't be all. That's what I'm saying.
All over America.
Don't be embarrassed by the issue. Address it. Let's go out there and try to correct the problem so that you won't have this anymore.
So comment below. Let us know what you want to hear, and I'll ask the question next week.
Before we start, Jim,
Yes.
pull the microphone a little closer.
That's
Yes.
That's the second week in a row she had to tell you that, Jim.
Well,
I knew that.
at least before we started the show this time.
That's right. What I do want to say, though, ladies and gentlemen, is that a little teaser for today. We're going to be talking about the Deerfield gun control.
Yes.
The reason why we're going to be doing that is because we are in the Deerfield area. That is where I conduct my business in the Deerfield area. And if you live in Deerfield, and if you disagree with me, that's fine. But if you're looking to buy or sell real estate, that's no joke. 847-271-3695 is my number, and I'm Jim Leahy with At Properties out of Bannockburn, right by
I
the
still
Deerfield
have
area.
a young man that goes to Deerfield High School, and the
I'm a
crowd.
Deerfield alum. I grew up and lived there
That's
my
right.
whole
I know
life.
Is he related to you?
He is.
Is he your son?
He's my son Joe. Still goes to. He's a junior at Deerfield. My nephew John is graduating from Deerfield.
My brother.
Yes, he's graduating from Deerfield, or will be. The proper term is will be graduated from.
Is it the proper?
That is the proper
propriety?
term. Yes, you graduate from. You are graduate. You are graduated
So how
from.
did this week go?
This week was awesome. It was the best ever.
I love it.
All set.
Okay, let's do
That's
it.
what thumbs up.
I got it.
Oh, that's the.
Pursuant to Internal Revenue Service guidance, be advised that any federal tax advice contained in this program is not intended to be used, and it cannot be used by any person or entity for the purpose of avoiding any tax penalties that may be imposed by the Internal Revenue Service or any other U.S. federal taxing authority or agency, or promoting, marketing, or recommending to another party any transaction or matter addressed in this show. The opinions expressed by the host and the guests are their own and may not be used as authoritative advice. Any use of this material without the written consent of the host is strictly prohibited.
You're listening to the IRS Radio Hour with your host, Attorney Stephen Leahy, on AM 560, The Answer. Tune in every week at 5 for an informative discussion about IRS obligations, credit card debt, mortgage default, collection activity, and how to resolve these legal issues using tax resolution, debt settlement, mortgage loan modification, foreclosure defense, and bankruptcy. Your host is Stephen Leahy, and the principal at Open Tax Resolutions and the law office of Stephen Leahy, PC. Stephen is the author of Deal with Your IRS Problems Today. IRS and debt issues are serious, but there is help. There are resolutions. So get ready and take notes during the IRS Radio Hour. And now, here's your host, Attorney Stephen Leahy.
Hello, Chicago area gun owners and supporters.
No, not gun owners.
Supporters.
There are many that are illegal gun owners that we do not.
No, that's true. And we're going to talk about that. But first, we're coming to you from Studio C at AM 560 The Answer. This is the IRS Radio Hour.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Now, this show is sponsored by the law office of Stephen A. Leahy, PC, and Opum Tax Resolutions.
God bless you, Opum Tax Resolution.
Opum helps people solve IRS problems.
Do they really?
Yeah, we help people with audits and levies, liens and garnishments, collections, unfiled tax returns, and payroll tax issues. We also help people with mortgage foreclosures, loan modifications, bankruptcy, and other debt-related issues. So if you have any of these problems, or if you know someone who does,
and you do,
and then you should give us a call at 312-664-6649. Again, that number is 312-664-6649, or visit us on the web at chicagotaxteam.com. I want to introduce, first I want to tell you who I am. I'm the host of this show, Attorney Stephen Leahy.
Say it loud, say it proud, brother.
I want to introduce our technical producer, Deborah Schreiner.
Hey, guys. Good
Hey,
to see
Deborah.
you.
It's good to see you, too.
Great to see you, too, Deborah.
I look forward to Friday so we can spend some time together, Deborah.
It's true. We drive over here and he goes, I'm going to see Deborah.
Don't tell her that. She'll think I'm creepy.
You are creepy.
Well, that's true, but I don't want her to know.
No, I'm
that.
joking. I really am joking.
Okay. That creepy guy that was just talking, his name is, first, he's my co-host, my nephew, my very good friend, and my favorite realtor, Jim Leahy.
You know, our show wouldn't be as successful as it is if it wasn't for the lovely people who come down and participate in the taping of the show, and which you will eventually see and are now witness. It's all so technical.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Deborah, you're the best in the business.
Was that before the show or after the show that we talked about? Was that the intro?
Yeah, that is the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into the IRS Radio Hour. I am your co-host, Jim Leahy, and that is true. I am Stephen Leahy's favorite realtor. I'm not gonna put words in your mouth, but I'm just copying what you said. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate in Northeastern Illinois, give me a call, 847-271-3695. Remember, Open Tax Resolution is there to help you get out of IRS problems, right?
Yes, and other financial
financial issues. But on this show, we don't only talk about that. We talk about other things, and we're going to just jump right into it.
Okay.
Whip. And nay-nay. It's a news roundup.
Review and comment on it. I was going to say that. That's how
whip and nay-nay.
That's how hip you've made me, Jim. I even know what that is.
I'm glad you know how to whip and nay-nay.
I don't know how.
Are you going to do like Hillary Clinton? Did you ever see the video of Hillary Clinton?
Is that something?
nay-nay?
Is it something like is that like a dance? Is that like
a long time ago?
Is that like that?
Please don't
what is
do
that?
It. Please stop.
Is
Please
that like
stop.
Just chilling and see what happens.
So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about that hotbed debate going on in the northern suburbs in Deerfield. That they passed the gun control laws. First off, if you really want to get a full feel on what we're really talking about, go on to Stephen Leahy's Facebook page,
yes.
because we do a podcast every Friday before the show.
And we talked a lot about that.
And we talk a lot about, because we record Friday show or Sunday, so we talk a lot about this because this is our neck of the woods. This is where I do business. This is where Attorney Stephen Leahy lives.
That's right.
Listen, I think it's wrong that what they did.
I said right there from the beginning that all they're doing is buying themselves a lawsuit.
All they're doing is just lawsuits. So they're wasting taxpayer money
exactly.
again.
And to make a political statement, because let's face it, Deerfield's a pretty safe area. I don't remember last time someone used a semi-automatic
I grew up there
weapon.
my whole life. Never had a problem.
So
I grew up there my whole life.
Doesn't make any sense.
And you know what? You think people up there, they think, oh, our streets are so much safer. You just made the police's problem so much harder.
And now it's going throughout the nation, right? That these gun control advocates are going across the nation and saying, well, let's do it one little area at a time. If we can't do it through, let's do it. And so there's this gentleman, and you probably heard it. Maybe you heard this, maybe you haven't. But if you haven't, you should. This is a gentleman, Mr. Robinson, from Greensboro, North Carolina, right? And he had this to say.
It does not make any sense. The law-abiding citizens of this community and many communities around this country, we're the first ones taxed and the last ones considered and the first ones punished when things like this happens, because our rights are the ones that are being taken away. So we need to dispel all these myths, and we need to drop all this division that we got going on here. Because the bottom line is, when that Second Amendment was written, whether the framers liked it or not, they wrote it for everybody. And I am everybody. And the law-abiding citizens of this city are everybody. And we want our rights, and we want to keep our rights. And by God, we're going to keep them, come hell or high water.
Here.
It's right.
I agree.
I'm a law-abiding citizen,
and
I'm talking about me. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I have, and I like to boast that I'm a law-abiding citizen. I don't have. You go look me up. I have nothing on my record. I've done everything by the book. And you're going to say that I'm a criminal now because I have a firearm to protect myself? Not saying I do or I do not, but you're going to say that I have a firearm, then I'm a criminal? That is wrong, ladies and gentlemen. That is what's wrong
here. My
here.
favorite part of that is, and they're trying to. First off, this gentleman doesn't even own a gun. He says. And because you don't have to be a gun owner.
It's none of your business if he doesn't.
I agree with that 100%. I agree with that.
I'm not saying to you. I'm just saying it doesn't matter.
No, but I do agree. I agree with that 100%. It doesn't matter.
Business.
It's none of your business whether he has or not. And when you ask him, "Do you own a gun?" That's none of your business.
All Deerfield's opening up too. Is they're going to say you
I hear this a lot.
You don't think people are going to be moving?
Very good answer, Jim. I like that answer.
You don't think people are going to be now? It's Deerfield and really the surrounding area. Not even Deerfield. I'm talking like other. I'm talking national.
Yeah,
I'm talking national. If you make guns illegal, there's 300 million. Or what do they say? How many? Like 300 million guns out there, something like that for every whatever. I don't know what the number is. There's a lot of guns. What you're going to do, you already could see, because people were law-abiding citizens when they trade guns and sell guns. They do it through the proper channels so that you can follow where the guns are going. Guess what? You've just opened up a black market. Congratulations. Congratulations. You have made it more unsafe.
First off, I think that, as I said, they bought a lawsuit. So let's hope that our judicial system says this is unconstitutional because it impinges.
It's based off the Highland Park model.
I understand, but shall not be infringed. That didn't go to the Supreme Court.
It went to the appellate courts. Though,
I understand, but that's not
shot down before it could go to the Supreme Court.
It doesn't get. That's not the way it works, Jim. It doesn't get shot down in the appellate court. If different appellate courts,
they said it was constitutional in the appellate court.
That doesn't mean it's constitutional. Okay, that's when you go to the Supreme Court when there's a difference of opinion from different courts, and if it's a violation of the Supreme Court of the Constitution, there doesn't even have to be a division because the United States Supreme Court can make a decision that that's unconstitutional, and it is unconstitutional. I don't think there's a question about whether it's unconstitutional or not, in my opinion. And it doesn't even matter the Constitution. Anyway, I think it's got to go through the courts. It's going to go through the courts. It's going to be, even if it's not overturned, it's going to cost the people of Deerfield so much money. It's going to be
wasting taxpayer
unbelievable.
Money that could go to somewhere else. Exactly. All for a feel-good law. And you didn't even have the people vote on it. If you had the people vote on it and then everybody agreed on it, then I have really no say.
Well,
I really have no say then because we went through that proper.
But I disagree with that too, because if it's unconstitutional, all the people in the world could vote to do it. But if it's unconstitutional, you can't do it, even if everybody says.
That's fine to clarify, but remember, ladies and gentlemen, there are good people out there that are putting lawsuits against you. So that's just what it is. We have a great show lined up for you today, guys. Okay, we just wanted to bring up that the gun control thing. We're going to keep hitting on that. That's going to be something that really sits with me, sits with Attorney Stephen Leahy, because he's a man of law and order. Law and order.
I'm a law and order guy.
Law and order. So anyway, what we got for the blog segment? Good blog
I'm going to talk about 1099-Cs again.
Wow.
And the ways you can avoid getting taxed on those.
Oh,
so that's
a good one. And then how about we're going to be doing Mr. Know-It-All. We're going to be talking about the Cubs because we record Friday show
El
or Sunday.
Trumpo.
So anyway, we got a great show lined up for you today. Remember, Open Tax Resolution is there for you. 312-664-6649 or visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your help to fight the IRS. Now, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere because we're going to come right back. Listen to those sponsors. And we're going to come right back. And listen to the sponsors again. And we're going to come right back because we got a great show lined up for you today here on AM 560.
The Answer. Very good, Jim.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you so much for tuning in. We would like share, comment, enjoy, subscribe, mail it to your, print it up, mail it to. Find a way to
contact
get that
your
out
congressman.
There. That's right.
Tell him that we're here. They don't know.
That's right. That's right.
I want them to know.
I want everybody to know too.
You know, I mentioned Trump, but there's so much going on. You know, about the people going down to the sending troops down to the border. The caravan.
It just gets me like, how do these people know about everything? You know, they're walking. Did you listen to the guy who was like formulating everything? Apparently, this is the thing they do every year.
I don't understand what you mean.
The guy
the caravan?
The caravan and everything. The migrant caravan. It's not Mexican because they're from El Salvador
that's right.
and
they usually get stopped.
Guatemala.
But they usually get stopped at the Mexican border. They don't let them in. They don't let it back. They don't let Mexico won't let them in because they have laws. They have immigration laws, and they don't let people in. And so they're letting them in and then escorting them through Mexico to the United States. They're not letting them stay in Mexico because they wouldn't let them through Mexico otherwise. And that's the problem with this. And I have to say, we're going to talk about that. Let's talk about it in the show because it's so important. But we'll do that in the Trump segment. But we'll do this next segment.
Welcome back to the IRS Radio Hour with Attorney Stephen Leahy. Stephen has helped hundreds of Chicagoans recover from financial disaster, and he wants to help you and your family. There are resolutions, and you will hear about all those resolutions during today's informative discussion of the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560 The Answer. Now, here's your host, Attorney Stephen Leahy.
Welcome back. I am your host, Attorney Stephen Leahy, and this is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560, The Answer. I'm joined today with Deborah Schreiner and Jim Leahy, and we're here to inform and entertain.
That's right, inform and entertain. Now, if we're not informing you on the subject that you want to be informed on, remember, call Open Tax Resolution, 312-664-6649. Go to ChicagoTaxTeam.com. You can watch old videos. You can go to blog reports. It's a great tool to get. It is your hub, but it's a great tool to get back on track for financial success. Also, too, there's other avenues as well. Facebook. Get out there and let's fix your problem.
That's right. Very good advice, Jim.
I love it.
Let's do this.
Go right in the next segment. It's the blog segment. The blog. The blog.
I paused there for effect.
It was a great pause.
And what's the name of the
Park Street.
Park.
We always Park Avenue beat.
I'm trying to remember.
Park Avenue beat.
Jim wins all the points.
Is that okay? So
because you're going to do this for the next like 2
until I
months.
can.
What is it? What is it?
I'm
What is
trying
it?
to
What
remember
is
it. I didn't remember it. That's why I asked. So after a couple of weeks, I'll remember.
Talk about things you remember, like 1099Cs.
Okay, so this segment of the show, I always talk about things that are happening in my office, right? And we're coming to the April 17th deadline of filing your tax return. So guess what? I'm getting a lot of calls about tax returns. We are so crowded. We have a queue of people that we need to do their taxes.
How crowded are you?
Very.
How many cookies have you gone through?
Oh, lots of cookies. That's true. It's true. And so the queue is very long about getting people and their tax
I always
returns.
thought it was QU.
I've gotten a lot of people, or
Like
whatever.
way.
Yeah. I got a lot of people that have come to me in the last week or 2 weeks who owe multiple years, and that's common. But one of the things is, when you owe multiple, say you owe for 2014 and you have a tax return coming, you have to get that filed before April 17th, or you won't get your tax refund, right? Because if you have a refund coming, you won't get the refund. So it puts a lot of pressure on us to get that done on time. Now, early in the season, I was offering a half price, but I'm not anymore because we got a big queue. We won't be able to do it.
No more half price.
Can't get it. Can't do it. And so now you have to pay a premium. Actually, I don't even know if I could do it now with the premium or not. But anyway, the calls I'm getting also involve this 1099-C. And the reason why I get a lot of calls about 1099-C is because I've written about it. I've got blog segments. We've got other YouTube videos about it. So people find me when they Google 1099-C because there's so much confusion about it. And so I get a lot. I am the resident. I don't want to say I'm an expert because I'm not allowed to call myself an expert in Illinois law, but I know a lot about it. Okay, and I have written extensively, and we've done these videos. Okay, so I get a lot of people call me. So I have one person call me. One thing that's happening throughout the nation is taxi cab medallions are not as worth as much as they used to be. Okay, so
yeah.
Okay, so there are people like in New York, Chicago, and other municipalities where these medallions were worth hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Really?
Yes, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and now they're not worth hundreds of thousands. Kind of like
Why are they worth hundreds of thousands?
Because it's a monopoly, right? You can't have a cab in Chicago or New York without a medallion, and so because there was a monopoly, they were worth a lot of money. Kind of like a board seat at the Chicago Board of Exchange, right? They used to be worth a ton of money because only they could trade stocks. When they put it on the internet, and everybody could trade. Well, those seats fell in value from hundreds of thousands of dollars to almost worthless. I wouldn't say they're worthless, but they're not worth the big money they used to be.
They're not worth what they used to be.
And same thing with cabs, and that's because of the Lyft and Uber, right? That they've affected their business, and so people. I saw an article. A lot of people are in New York are committing suicide because their business has folded. But what's happening is there's a lot of these loans out there because people would use these medallions as a secured loan. So companies were out there that would loan you money based on the value of that medallion. And again, if they were worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, they would loan you hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And now, not only isn't the medallion worth anything, but the people who own them aren't really making any money to pay back. And so there's lots of litigation throughout the nation about cab drivers who are facing these issues. And we're talking about 1099-Cs. Now, you know that 1099-Cs are taxable unless there's an exception. And there's certain exceptions. Last week we talked about on the Mr. Know-It-All segment about that they reinstated the Mortgage Debt Forgiveness Act, right? So now you can, if you have a 1099-C, if you gave up your house through a short sale or foreclosure and they forgave some debt, you don't have to pay taxes on there. There's an exception to that. The other two exceptions. One is bankruptcy. So if you file for protection under the bankruptcy laws and your debt is forgiven, it's actually not forgiven, it's discharged in bankruptcy. Means that even if they don't forgive it, they can't come after you anyway. But sometimes companies will send you a 1099-C, and you have filed for protection under the bankruptcy laws. That's what they call Title 11 on the form. There's a form, it's called 982, and that form 982 lists these reasons why you don't have to pay tax on this 1099-C. Okay, and so another reason why, but bankruptcy is huge, and in this kind of case, right? So the person who called, the driver, the man who ran, they owned 3 taxis, and they owned over $800,000 in debt. Okay, and they're being sued. His wife made over $200,000 in income. Okay, so they're going to get some money from her.
Yeah,
right?
Substantial.
And if you're making over that if you're making more than the mean, remember, then they don't want you to file a Chapter 7 for consumer debt. But here's the catch in this. That's not consumer debt. That's a business debt. And so you might be able to file a Chapter 7, even if somebody tells you can't. You might be able to file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy to get rid of that debt.
How do I know if I can or I can't?
Well, that's why you got to call me, because every case is different, and we can review it. Now, before I go into that, because I don't really, this wasn't really a Chapter 7 or bankruptcy segment. But the third thing you can do to avoid paying taxes on a 1099-C is if you can prove to the IRS that you're technically insolvent at the time the debt was forgiven, then you also there's an exception, and there's a worksheet, and it gets pretty complicated.
I'm sure. Well, no, our tax system's complicated.
Oh, I told you last week. I told you a story about the guy from Ireland who.
You know what's funny?
He was shocked at our system.
When you brought that up, I read an article talking about that.
Yeah.
That's what's funny. I'm like, oh, I knew that.
Yeah, it's because nobody else in the world.
I'm sure
has
a lot of our listeners had the same thing too.
So, but anyway, so it's a complicated calculation to see if you are technically insolvent at the time that your debt is forgiven by your creditor, then you can avoid paying taxes. Or to the extent you are insolvent. So sometimes you have to pay tax on some of the money, but not all of the money. And that's what this calculation does. So what I always tell people, if you get a 1099-C, some people will put it in a drawer and say, well, that's nice. But they don't report it. And then you're just asking for an audit, because the IRS has that 1099-C. They're going to look to see if you've accounted for it on your tax return. And if you haven't, they're going to do it for you. They're going to add it to your taxable income.
Don't worry about it. We added that for you.
That's
so
right.
You didn't forget.
As I always tell people, when the IRS does it for you, it's not a service; it's a penalty, right? So they're gonna assess a big tax against you. So again, if you have a 1099-C, you have a question, call me at 312-664-6649. Again, that number is 312-664-6649. I will answer your question, and we'll figure it out if you can get into one of those 3 exceptions.
That's what's great about having attorney Stephen Leahy on your side. He's going to go through and make sure maybe you qualify for this situation. Not a lot of people are going to do that. They're just going to push it right under the rug.
That's right.
Hey, you don't qualify for it. That's what Open Tax Resolution does for you. 312-664-6649, or visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your hub to fight the IRS. Now, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned, because we have more IRS Radio Hour on the way. We got a great show lined up for you. If you missed that segment, go on YouTube. You can look up the video. We're going to have the blog segments. Go on ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's a great little tool to help get you back on track for financial success. Stay tuned, because after the commercial break, more IRS Radio Hour here on AM 560.
The Answer. I still love the way that music stops at the end.
It works really well. It works really well.
I still like it.
Just make the system easy. Is that too much to ask for?
Did you see El Presidente yesterday in West Virginia? Was it yesterday? He threw his. He says, I have some. Should I save it for the show? I have some prepared remarks.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he throws it. I'm not going to talk about my prepared remarks. That's kind of good. I know some people are against it. I've heard our friend Dan was going crazy about Trump. It's not helpful. But, Dan, as much as I like Dan, and I do like Dan, he has been against everything that Trump has done. He said none of this was going to work, and it's all worked. So I don't think I'm going to subscribe to when Dan think it's not going to work, because he's been wrong all along, as almost everybody has been wrong, don't you think? Even Hillary Clinton was wrong, and she's the smartest woman in America. Just ask her.
She knows it. We all know
I'm
it.
just chilling in Cedar Rapids.
I like the way you had that handy there during the show. Where'd that come from? A blast from the past. We're going to do a Trump segment now, and we're going to talk about just what I was just talking about. There's other things, too, that Trump's doing that you're going to be interested in.
You're listening to the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy on AM 560, The Answer. Attorney Stephen Leahy brings his passion and expertise to your radio each and every week during the IRS Radio Hour. Tune in, take notes, and be educated. Learn your options resolving financial obstacles that face so many. And now, back to the IRS Radio Hour with your host, attorney Stephen Leahy.
Welcome back. Like the guy just told you, I'm your host. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. This is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560.
The Answer.
We're here with Deborah Schreiner and Jim Leahy, and we're here every week at 5 o'clock on AM 560.
The Answer.
I just said that.
I like it.
What did you like this? We missed Debbie that time, though. I tricked her. I tricked her because I did it twice in a row.
So what's our new? What's this segment?
We're gonna do our favorite Trump segment, El Presidente.
We're talking about Trump. Trump.
Take a look at my Twitter account.
President Trump.
Sort of amazing.
We're talking about Trump. Trump.
America first.
President Trump.
Together, we will make America great again. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Okay, God bless America. And Trump is doing everything he can to make America great again. You can disagree with that if you like. Someone asked me, they just assume I was a Trump supporter. I had to tell them, I'm not a Trumpeteer. I know you're jumping to conclusions.
I'm not a Trump supporter either.
But here's some things that he's doing that I think is just amazing to me. The one thing he's doing is that he just seems to throw all of these rules into the garbage can, and goes by what he.
Well, that's why he was elected.
It is exactly why he was elected, and I got to give him credit for it. And one of the biggest issues, right, was immigration, right? So you won't let me build a wall. I'm in charge of the military. I'll send people down to I'll send the troops down there, and we'll use troops until you allow. I think it's brilliant. I think because it's. The people who supported that and the reason why he was elected are going to be fully supportive of that move. I know I am. Everybody's up in arms about it. It's amazing to me when Trump does something, everybody's up in arms about it. Then we find out, this president did that. Obama, the big one is whenever he does something, everybody's against it. Then you say, Obama did that too. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know Obama did that too. Yeah. Oh, then it's okay. That's okay. Well, but Obama we can trust. Now we got Michelle Obama out there mocking. I don't think that's smart, Michelle, to start going after. She's talking about Family Man and all this, but there's this caravan coming. He wanted to send people down, and but here he is. So he's saying, okay, this really gets me though. You got states that will just thumb their nose at him and federal law and say we won't cooperate with you. He wants to send National Guard. There's some governors of states saying we won't send our National Guard down there, whether you like to or not. And then you learn that this has happened before, and they can nationalize the National Guard and make you send them anyway, whether you like to or not.
Which I disagree.
Okay.
Which I necessarily disagree.
Okay, well, it's the National Guard is part of the Army, so that's the way it works.
We fought this war in the Civil War.
We fought
that debate in the Civil War.
I agree with that. I agree with that. But then Mexico won't stop the people, so he says, "Oh, hey, we'll just cut your aid." Okay, wait a minute, maybe we should stop this caravan, But that makes sense, and the same thing he's doing in China. And what I liked about him, what he said is, you know what? If we have to take a hit on the stock market, and we are. The stock market's taking a big hit, but he said
against China. Yeah.
But he said, if that's what it's taken to get to go after them, then that's what we have to do. And I agree with him 100%.
Well, they want to start changing the petrodollar to the petro.
We should have gone after him. We should have gone after China years ago. But we know that they're doing this.
It was is our presidents just kind of gambled and were like, they'll eventually turn into a democracy. They'll be fine. They'll be a democratic.
And they're not.
And it's like, oh.
And I don't even so much that is that they're more concerned about their own upsetting the economy while they're in charge and the ramifications of that, the political ramifications. And sometimes Trump takes things that everybody thinks is going to be negative, and it turns out to be positive. And that so you never know just because it seems like it's going to be a negative for him that it's not going to be a negative. It's positive. Hey, if you look at his polling numbers are higher than they've ever been. So maybe he's right. I don't know. He's been right about a lot of this stuff. All these other people that are saying that all this is wrong and he's just goofy by doing these things. They've turned out to be wrong right from the beginning. So maybe we shouldn't listen to them. My own opinion. So again, I'm not a big trumpeter, but some of the things. When he threw out the script the other night, here I have some prepared remarks. I'm not going to talk about that. And he kind of tosses the script.
I don't know how much I like that. Personally.
Why? Why should he always be on script? Why should everything he says be so controlled? Like every other president's like, oh no, say this, say that. And it's really
because you're like the head of state.
But then it's meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. Because you don't really say what's going on. You just kind of say, we're going to be strong yet flexible. It's like you said nothing. And maybe that's the art of politics. And maybe that's why people don't like politicians, because they don't say anything.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, you need to say something to the IRS, and Attorney Stephen Leahy will do that for you. 312-664-6649. Visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your hub to fight the IRS. Now, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned, because we got a great show. Well,
we always have
we are going to continue.
We're halfway through the show. They know it's a great show.
I know, but we're going to, for those that just tuned in, we have Mr. Know-It-All coming up here on AM 560, The Answer.
I had enough. I could have said what
I'm just reading right here. The Tallahassee police are trying to take guns away from this guy under their new law.
I saw that.
The guy's like a mentally deranged person. He's been 21 years old. Has fired his AR-15 in the backyard while intoxicated. I think you've lost your.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah.
They said there.
Take him away.
Any constitutional right. So Jake was talking to me. Jake's my son. For those who are listening. He was talking to me about gun rights. Well, I don't know if there's some that will be against taking guns away, even from the mentally deranged. I don't think there's too many people that would be against that.
No.
Taking guns away. And with due process, anything is possible, even your life, right? Because with due process, we could take your life with capital punishment, and that is a surrender of your liberties if there ever was one.
Exactly.
So if you could do that,
but you've done an act to. It just isn't willy nilly like that.
I agree.
I think it should. But this guy has had
with
several.
Due process.
With due process. This guy's had several instances where it's like, okay, you've lost.
And I know.
To others.
And I know if they're taking this action, it's well beyond when they should have done it. They probably should have done it years ago.
He's threatened the pig. I'm sorry, pigs. I didn't mean that, because that's what he says here. Pigs got to die. That's exactly his quotes. Okay. He's threatening the police officers.
Mm-hmm.
That's the. You got to lose your. You shouldn't have one.
Here's a top 28% of Americans will pay 87% of all income taxes. Well, we already know that. It's already the case. Our country. Well, that's not. We'll talk about that on the air.
That's right.
The next segment we're going to talk about is my Mr. Know-It-All segment. And
what's the question going to be?
You're going to ask me why my company's name is what it is.
Open tax resolutions.
And I'm going to explain it to you.
We talked about that earlier.
I've said it. I've had it on the show before, but I thought it was important, and I'll tell people why I think it's important.
Welcome back to the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy. Stephen has helped hundreds of Chicagoans recover from financial disaster, and he wants to help you and your family. There are resolutions, and you will hear about all those resolutions during today's informative discussion on the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560 The Answer. Now, here's your host, attorney Stephen Leahy.
Yeah, I am the tax man. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. This is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560, The Answer. Joined here with Deborah Schreiner and Jim Leahy.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, if we're not answering your question on this show, there's other ways of getting getting that information. Go on our YouTube page, go on chicagotaxteam.com, or call attorney Stephen Leahy, 312-664-6649.
And now, here's that man with a head just crammed full of knowledge, Mr. Know-It-All.
That's correct, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Know-It-All, the segment where attorney Stephen Leahy will give us that infinite wisdom on all things taxes.
It is true. Today, the question arose.
That you have infinite wisdom on taxes?
No, that wasn't the question. But is that the...
No, the question today is going to be, why is your office named Opum Tax Resolution?
Opum
Why is it not
Tax
Open?
Resolution.
Why is it not Stephen A. Leahy Law Office? Why is it not come to me if you want your taxes done in ink?
That would be good.
Very direct.
But here's the thing. here's the reason why, is because, why this came up is someone was asking me. Joe Walsh sometimes will refer to me as Open Tax Resolution, and I am Open Tax Resolution because I own that name too, Jim, and I do have Open Tax Resolution. But I prefer Opum Tax Resolution, OPEM Tax Resolution.
Well, why is it Opum?
Because that is a Latin word that means to help. Okay, and when I searched for a name for my company, and this is the great thing about working for yourself, right? You can always come up with your own name. You can do whatever you want, right? You call it any way you want.
So awesome.
It is awesome. I think about boats and how they name their boats, right? I do. I was watching The Deadliest Catch, and they were talking about how they came up with the names for their boats. And how I came up with Opum is...
Hey, Frank, what's your boat's name? The Titanic?
Actually, one of the guys in Deadliest Catch, I forget the name of it, but he said, I looked it up, and it meant calls mariners to their death. And he said, well, I had to rethink the name of that because I didn't want to call the mariners to their death.
Well, but here's the real question. Opum Tax Resolution is Latin for to help.
Yes.
What are you helping people with?
Well, I help people solve their financial problems. And see, because it's Latin is tied to, I'm Catholic, okay? So as a Catholic, we want to live out our faith. And living out is meaning helping people. That's what I do. I'm passionate about helping people. It's kind of cliche because you hear that people say that, well, I want to help people. But that's like this show. We're passionate about sharing information. That's what we do. We're sharing this information to help people. In the end, we might get some clients, or we might not. It really doesn't matter. But my goal is to help as many people as I can, and I want to tie it to my faith. If you look at our logo, I have a logo. It looks like a navigation wheel, but actually, that navigation wheel is a number of crosses and circles. And so again, this is another way to tie what I do every day to my faith. I have people when
if you look closely, there's a little beer bottle in a lot of
well, that's it. It's an old style can, but that's in the middle. Okay, surrounded by crosses. Actually, it's just a joke. But you'll see that when you come into my office, again, because it's my office, I have a crucifix up on in my conference room, and I always forget it's there. I put it up the day that we moved in. I put that up. And I always forget it's there, but occasionally somebody will say to me, actually this happened last week. Someone looked up, they said, they were talking about hiring me. They were debating whether they want to hire me, and they said, he told me to. And I was kind of confused. I said, what do you, he pointed up, he told me to. I was praying and he told me to. I pray that I could help as many people as I can. And so if you're praying that you're looking for someone to help them, that's what's a good match. I might not be the one for you. There's other people out there. but that's what I do. Okay, so my goal is to help as many people as I can, and if you're having problems, I want to help you. And I'm going to do the best I can to be open, honest, and forthright with you, and that's part of it, right? You want someone you can trust and someone that's going to be honest with you. I think so many in this line of work are not honest with their clients, and they tell them what they want to hear. Sometimes my clients aren't happy with what I tell them, but I'm always going to be honest. And again, sometimes that's good, and sometimes for my clients, it's always good to be honest. Okay. Sometimes you don't like to hear the answer, but it's better the honest answer than to be led astray with false promises. And I never make a false promise. I always say under promise, overperform. Right? Don't make promises you can't keep. We talk a lot about that, about offers and compromise. You know how all these outfits talk about. Pay pennies on the dollar, and everybody wants to pay the IRS pennies on the dollar. The sad truth is not everybody can, and I'm always going to be honest with you and tell you the way it is. Anyway, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Mr. Know-It-all.
That's right. Thank you, Mr. Know-It-all. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a question that isn't answered on this show, please call Open Tax Resolution 312-664-6649. Ask that question, and we'll put it on the show. So
Absolutely.
We'll answer it right on air. Well, you also get it answered when you call Attorney Stephen Leahy, too. 312-664-6649. And visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your hub to fight the IRS. Now, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned because we're going to wrap this show up, IRS Radio Hour. So the only way we know how to.
That's absolutely true.
To pray that we do it.
Very good.
We do it the right way. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. Listen to our sponsors and come back here on AM 560.
The answer. I used to have the definition right here on my website, but it's not there anymore. I don't know what happened to it.
Boy, Wrigley is just looking like. Have you seen what it looks like? Look at this. Look at this. This is Wrigley Field now.
Is that today?
Yeah.
No, it isn't.
Yes. Here's what's new in Wrigleyville ahead of opening day 2018. This is all
I'm
new.
looking at this.
Oh no. This is all new.
The McDonald's right here now.
Yeah.
And the hotel. I know. I've seen it. Yeah.
And then they have that other hotel. They took out all those bars over there too.
Which bars?
See this is the bar I like because it's got the outdoor pool out here. But this used to be Goose Island and all that.
That's gone.
Gone.
They bought
That's
all that?
look.
Wow, I did not know that.
That's the new. That because it closed down. Remember the
Oh,
Goose
man.
Island Brewery closed down right there, and it was great too. I've seen a few live shows. A good friend of mine used to play there.
Let me tell you this. It's pretty much of a genius of them to own the whole damn thing. And if
look at this.
If
look
WGN
at this.
was
look at this. Here's Hotel Zachary right across the street.
Yes.
Look at this bar overlooking everything. Look at that.
And the McDonald's is right there.
You don't think they're going to put concerts in there too? Come on.
They have plans for the whole thing. If
There's your seats right here.
Someone told me that there's
Look,
not.
these are your seats right here.
Someone told me
They took all that out.
Someone told me that there isn't a seat in Section 140 that hits the wall now. But most of 140 used to hit the wall. Now none of it hits the wall. They put so many seats in front of me.
This massive 2.5-acre project across from Wrigley Field is expected to be complete, and this is the new one, not Zachary. It's expected to be completed by the end of the baseball season. Tenants can start moving into apartments starting in August. The project is expected to be finished in October and will include a 10-screen CMX Cinemas, a Lucky Strike bowling alley, a Shake Shack, 7-Eleven stores on both ends of development, a Harley-Davidson store, and a baseball apparel store called Baseballism.
Dang. You thought it was expensive to live there before.
I know.
Just wait.
I'd like to have an apartment. Well, I guess right across the
You
street.
better hope they're good.
See. I agree with you.
You better hope they're good.
Because look at what's going on with the
I think they're
Blackhawks.
I really
nobody's
think
going. Tomorrow's.
I really think. I honestly believe. I truly believe this that they're overstepping their boundaries. They're gonna get. Eventually, they're gonna get screwed.
Don't they already have a lot of money though from other?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They do. But they're really, really reining this.
But here's
one
the
in.
thing, Jim. If you have that much money tied up into this, you're going to spend all you can to get the right team. Kind of like you're going to be like
25 years ago.
Going to be like the Yankees. You got to spend. You got to get the players.
25 years ago, if somebody told you McDonald's was going to shut down, or you'd start seeing stores close, and you look and be like, "What are you, stupid?" McDonald's?
Where? Oh, any McDonald's?
Any McDonald's.
I know they're closing everywhere. Yeah.
Never say never.
Do you see the?
Rome fell.
Did you see that? Did you see that the number 3 fast food franchise now is
Chick-fil-A?
Chick-fil-A.
I read that. Unbelievable.
Where's
and
Chick-fil-A?
they're closed on Sundays.
And they're closed on Sunday.
Where?
What do you mean?
Chick-fil-A where?
They surpassed
the number of franchises. Yes.
Nationally in sales, they surpassed Taco Bell and Burger King to be number 3.
You know what the number 2 is?
Starbucks.
Starbucks. I knew you knew.
I read the article.
I know you did.
I like the Starbucks white mochas.
Me too.
I have never gotten anything.
I like to get an iced
white mocha. Me being a realtor,
I have been there.
Everybody on the.
But every time I walk,
everybody meets.
I probably told you the story. But I've only been to Starbucks a couple times, and every time
I see all the people looking serious on their Bluetooth. Yeah. I'll get that to you soon. Oh, I gotta go to a meeting. I gotta do this. They're not talking to anyone, but they're pretending.
They're pretending to be important. I have only gone to Starbucks a couple times, and every time I'm dumbfounded because I look at them like, can I help you, sir? Coffee. what?
They're taking out the Taco Bell.
Can I have
taking out the Taco
Bell.
Yes, I know.
And
putting a gem there.
I knew that.
So
people were complaining. There's this great Taco Bell. How could you take it? Because you know what? I own it. I could do anything I want with it. That's why it's going.
They're gonna get screwed.
That's up to them. God bless them.
But they put the money where their mouth is.
That's right. And when you
know what? But the problem is the reason why it's gonna fall. The reason why it's going to falter is going to be exactly like the Hawks in the 90s. You have to. You love the Blackhawks. You can only come see the Blackhawks.
Let me tell you what the difference is. The difference is they have much more money tied up than the Blackhawks ever did.
I agree. But here's the thing.
So
here's the thing. This is true though. It's going to be like it's going to be like the Hawks. It's going to be like, hey, you can only see them on this. We're going to make our own TV channel, and people are going to buy the TV channel.
That was wrong.
It's going to be wrong. And then all this corporate stuff don't get me wrong, it looks nice. People aren't going to buy it. I'm telling you, it's going to get too expensive.
Well, we'll see. The only way
and all this
the
stuff,
only way it gets
all
expensive.
This stuff they're going to look and go, oh my God.
I think it's too expensive already, to be honest with you. Because tickets, my tickets, and I got my tickets, and I'm going to the ball game. My tickets, I don't begin to make money on them, or even to get face value for my tickets. They're not even close to face value. So I'm, as a ticket holder, I got to buy them all up front, and I'm overpaying.
Wait till like 10 years, too. If they really start making money, they'll knock down all those rooftops, put stuff in there, too.
As they should. They own most of those now anyway. They own those rooftops because they bought them all at foreclosure when they purposely. Let's do the show.
Yeah.
Let's do the show.
We'll talk about this on the show.
When they purposely went.
We'll talk about this on the show.
When they purposely went bad.
You're listening to the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy on AM 560, The Answer. Attorney Stephen Leahy brings his passion and expertise to your radio each and every week during the IRS Radio Hour. Tune in, take notes, and be educated. Learn your options resolving financial obstacles that face so many. And now, back to the IRS Radio Hour with your host, attorney Stephen Leahy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am not your host, attorney Stephen Leahy, but your co-host, Jim Leahy. I say it every week. Welcome back on the last segment here on the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560.
The Answer.
We hope you enjoy. Remember, if we did not answer your question in the show, you can always call Open Tax Resolutions. Those great folks that sponsor the show. 312-664-6649. They're going to answer your question, and we'll answer it on next week's episode so that you can also help other people as well.
And not only will they answer your question, they'll help you because OPM means to help.
That's
absolutely
right.
true.
That's right.
Absolutely true.
You know what?
Now, but before we go on, I wanted to first thank my friend David Hochberg because last Saturday, he had a guest, Gary Novell. Gary Novell's been a guest on our show. He is the
credit expert,
the credit guru, as we like it, with a credit with a K, creditguru.com. go to him. He's great. But he was supposed to be on the show last Saturday, on David's show last Saturday. He couldn't go. And so I got a call early in the morning, and I didn't get it till late. He said, and so I showed up at the show about 10:15. His show starts at 10. And so I was a little late, but I was on the show. So thanks so much. I'm anytime you need something, I'm there for you. That's what I love to be on the radio.
As long as they don't call you too early.
Well, you could call
He
me.
actually called me too early. I didn't see it till late.
Anyway, what I want to talk about is all the new renovations going on
Oh,
at Wrigley because opening day is coming
unbelievable.
up tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's, yeah, you're right.
It's going to be tomorrow, and I'm not going to be there. Tickets are a little too expensive, and
I
how
had
cold
to-
it. And you know what? I have a job
I have
to run,
tickets
ladies
for
and
Monday,
gentlemen.
but I sold them.
I'm a realtor. I work every day of the week, so I can't go make it to a 120 Monday game. Can't do it.
I could if it was
Sure.
open air, but the way we split my tickets with my friend and I to split them is every third year we agree to sell them and split that ticket, and so we sold them for our face were like $130 a piece, so not cheap anymore. Tickets are not cheap.
No. Well, that's not true. I found mine pretty cheap.
Well, but that was that I got that.
always find
but
those
not
pretty cheap.
You ain't gonna get into Wrigley on opening day for cheap. You ain't gonna happen unless it's snowing the day of the game.
You can find it,
and
yeah.
it might be snowing the day of the game.
Yeah.
So
What is going on? Hey, don't worry.
but
Wow.
I love sports because every game is the last game is like defines your season. So when they're they're really doing bad. They're doing so they turn it around. They beat Milwaukee, and I was watching after the show. I mean after the game, the announcers. Oh yeah, they turn it around now. They really.
Speaking of sports. How about congratulating your alma mater, Loyola, on a great season?
It was a great
and a great
season.
job in the tournament.
It was a great season. That was a great game that they played until 6 minutes left.
They were right with Michigan.
They were
but
beating them. They were up by 10 with 6 minutes left, and they kind of folded. But again, Michigan's was a great team.
And so was Villanova.
I don't think anybody was going to beat Villanova this year. I don't think anybody would. But it would have been nice to be there. But it was still great to go. Final Four, unheard of. So that's going to help recruiting. That means maybe for the next couple of years.
But they really let that game go.
They did.
They should have
They
won
did.
that game. What a bad
I agree.
effort.
I agree.
Poo-poo.
No, just the end. But of course that's all
Hey,
games.
Jim,
basketball.
that's one game. Don't discount their whole season on that one game.
I agree with that.
But they could have beat them.
It was
it's not like they didn't. They went in there and they made it this far, and then all of a sudden Michigan killed them.
It was still awesome.
It was awesome.
No, it wasn't.
Congratulations,
They
Loyola.
lost. At the end, it was terrible.
Congratulations, Loyola.
Congratulations. Anyway, congratulations to you, ladies and gentlemen, for making it through our show. We hope you give us a call, 312-664-6649. Or visit ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your hub to fight the IRS. Remember, same bad time.
That was
same
the
bad
fastest
channel.
segment.
Same bad time, same bad channel. Every Sunday at 5 here on AM 560.
The answer. Wanted to say that was a fast segment. All of a
Ladies
sudden,
and
boom,
gentlemen,
it was
thank
over.
you so much for tuning in.
Oh, I forget that we still have guests.
We hope you enjoy. And remember, come on back next week because we always do the same Friday segment. If you have any questions, please contact Attorney Stephen
put it on the
Leahy.
comments.
Or if you're looking to buy or sell real estate in Northeastern Illinois, you give me a call,
Put that on the comments, too.
847-271-3695. Again, that phone number, 847-271-3695. And that's me, Jim Leahy, with At Properties in the North Shore. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week for another great episode of the IRS Radio Hour.